Hi everybody, welcome back to Just Handcrafts Crochet Tutorials. Today I'm going to show you how to do a corner to corner. This is a lovely stitch that you can use for blankets or scarves, just whatever. It's really a great stitch. It's pretty thick, so it uses a lot of yarn, but it does have some nice stretch to it, some nice give. This particular item I'm making right here is a scarf. So you can see that it's not very wide. And I used a variegated yarn that has a stripe in it. It's a self-striping yarn. So you can really see the different colors that are running through, and you can see your rows really clearly when you're using a self-striping yarn. Now the corner to corner, or the C2C as you might see it called, the reason they call it that is because you start in the corner and then each row you go back and forth on the diagonal. So it's really a fun little stitch, and it's a great stitch to learn if ever you want to make a graph gown, which is a very challenging item to do. Then this is the stitch you're most likely going to use. So let's begin. Today I am not going to use a variegated yarn because it is a little bit more difficult to see the stitches. I am going to use this that I have in my stash. It's a Caron Simply Soft. It's a number 4 worsted weight yarn. It's just, and I use a lighter color when I'm doing my tutorials because it's easier to see the stitches. And then I am also going to use my Clover hook H 5.0. I love my Clover hooks, but I will tell you the Caron Simply Soft yarn is sleek. It has a sheen to it and it makes it sleek, and the Clover hook is extremely sleek. So sometimes the hook kind of slips out of the loop, but that's okay. I still love the way this feels, and I love the finished product of the Caron Simply Soft. So we're going to go ahead and begin by making our slip stitch, which is just a loop, and then you pull your working yarn through that loop. Hold on to your tail to tighten. Okay, we're going to start with a chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. See, it slipped out. 5, 6, and the next thing you're going to do is you're going to double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook, and the 5th and the 6th. So you're going to yarn over 1, 2, 3, 4, insert your hook, and I insert underneath both loops. This is how I learned way back in the day, and that's how I like to do it. I think it gives it a more finished look. So yarn over, insert your hook under the 5th chain from the hook, and then one more double crochet in this last chain on the hook. So the corner to corner stitch actually consists of what looks like a bunch of little squares. Each square consists of a chain 3 and 3 double crochets. So there you have your first square. That is your first row. Each row from here on out will increase in size. So your next step is going to be to chain 6. One more time, whenever you're increasing, you are going to start with a chain 6. And do like we did before. You're going to crochet a double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook and the next 2 chains. Now remember, I'm using a worsted weight yarn and a number H hook. This particular stitch looks great with really any weight yarn. You can go from a from a number 1 fingering yarn and a little tiny hook, like maybe an E or an F, all the way up to a number 6 bulky yarn with a Q hook. And it's still going to look really, really nice. Okay, so now you have your second square made. Okay, this is the first square on your second row. And it looks like you have a stair step, but this is not the look you're going for. You're going to bring this stitch over to here. So you're going to slip stitch right in this chain 3 spot. Okay? So did you get that? This is what you have. You're going to bring your hook into your chain 3 spot. Then, so you have your row 1, and this is your first square of row 2, so you're going to make another square here for row 2. So you're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 3 double crochets in that chain 3 spot. So there is your finished row 2. Row 1 is 1 square, row 2 is 2 squares. The next row, as long as you're increasing, will go to 3. The row after that will go to 4. Row 5 will have 5 squares. Row 6 will have 6 squares, and on and on. So when you're starting your next row, you're going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Turn your work so you're looking at the back of your stitches. And you're going to crochet, double crochet in chain 4, 5, and 6 from the hook. One, oops. 2, oops, and there's 3. Now you're going to bring this over to here to slip stitch in your chain 3 space, and then you're going to chain up. See, my hook keeps slipping out. 3, and then 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and you're going to bring this one over to this chain 3 space, slip stitch, keep slipping out, then up 1, 2, 3, up 3, chain 3 for your last one on this row, and then do 3 double crochets. Okay, so now you can see row 1 you have 1 square, row 2 you have 2, row 3 you have 3, and we're going to increase one more time, so we have a total of 4 rows of increase. So we'll start with a chain 6, turn our work, a double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook, very slippery yarn. and a double crochet in the 5th chain from the hook. And you know, this is a good time for me to mention this. You could, for ease, instead of going underneath the 2 loops like I do, you could also just insert your hook in like this. But what you're doing is you're changing the look of your stitches. It may not make a whole lot of difference to you, but I just like the way it looks when you're inserting your hook into underneath those 2 loops at the top. Just whatever you prefer. I prefer this way. Okay, so we've got our first square on row 4. We need to bring this stitch over to here to our chain 3 space by slip stitching. Then we're going to chain up 3, 2, 3. Then we're going to put in 3 double crochets in this chain 3 space. 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to slip stitch this over to our chain 3 space. And we're going to chain up 3. Then we're going to do 3 double crochets in our chain 3 space. Then we're going to bring this over here to our next chain 3 space, right in there. Chain up 3, 3 double crochets. So that's basically what you're going to do whenever you're working your corner to corner and you are increasing. When you're going to increase this row, meaning you're going to make it wider and wider, you're going to start with the chain 6. Now let's say this is as wide as you want it. I know it's pretty small, but this is just a tutorial on how to do the stitch. We're not actually making anything. So let's say this is as wide as you want, and you say, I don't want this to go up any higher anymore. I want it to go across now and make it long and narrow. Okay, so if that's what you want to do, let us go ahead and do a slip stitch here. A chain. And then we're going to turn our work. Instead of doing the chain 6, we just chain 1. And now we're going to slip stitch in each of the 3 double crochets and the chain 3 space. So that will be, let me get closer. 1, 2, 3, and then our chain 3 space. Oops. Now, do you see what I did here? I started off over here, where normally you would just go ahead and make a square right here to increase. But by slip stitching across, I have now formed a corner where there was once just a straight line. So now my next square is going to be in this space instead of this space. So we're going to chain up 3, and then do 3 double crochets. And as before, we're going to bring this over to our chain 3 space and slip stitch them together. And chain up 3, and then double crochet 3. Bring this over here to the chain 3 space by slip stitching it together. Chain up 3, and 3 double crochets. Okay. Bring this over to this next square by slip stitching it together through the chain 3 space. Chain up 3. That's 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now you can see this row is continuing, this side is continuing up, whereas this side, instead of continuing across, it's going to go up. So let me do another row where I go ahead and increase this edge, but then end right here. So since this edge is going to increase, that means you are going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then crochet a double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook, and in the 5th chain from the hook. If I can get it. This is not cooperating with me today. And then in the 6th chain from the hook. That's the one thing about the Caron Simply Soft. It's really, really soft. It's really, really drapey. I really love it, but it does have a tendency to split on you. Okay, so there's your square. And you're going to join it together by slip stitching in your chain 3 space of this square. I'm going to chain up 3 and put 3 double crochets. And join this one to this one by slip stitching into the chain 3 space. Chain up 3, get some more yarn. And then join this one to this one by slip stitching into the chain 3 space and chain up 3, then 3 more double crochets. Now this is where you have to take a look at your work. Make sure you don't go crazy. Right here is your corner, and it kind of dips down in here, but believe me, after you do so many, the line will look straighter. You're going to slip stitch here in your chain 3 space like you have before, but this is your width. So you're not going to do a chain 6. You're just going to slip stitch, do a single chain, turn your work, and then slip stitch in the 3 double crochets and the chain 3 spot. Okay, so that'll be 1, 2, 3, and the chain 3 spot. Turn your work, So it's this way. So now you can see, instead of increasing on both sides all the way out, we are only increasing on one side, and here we're going straight up. So this is considered a decrease part of the row, and this is an increase. I'm going to chain up 3, and then 3 double crochets. Okay, join, split again, join by slip stitching to this chain 3 spot, chain up 3, and 3 double crochets. Now you can continue doing this until you have your sampler to whatever size you want. But this is the basics on how to do the corner to corner. Once you get it down, you're going to absolutely love it, and it's just the type of thing that you can do while you're sitting in front of the TV listening to the news or what have you, because you're really just making a series of squares that consists of a chain 3 and 3 double crochets. It's just a matter of where you're placing those little squares. And that is it for today. Let me know what you think about this video. Leave some comments or what have you. I think this stitch is absolutely lovely. It works in so many applications. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope that you're very successful in this stitch. Don't forget to sign up for my subscription to my channel, and you will get notifications every time I make a new video. Thank you very much, and have a great day.